whatever required. The event lecture will be recorded, streamed, and podcast. Video recordings will only capture the speaker, instructor, and students will not be visible. Your voice, however, may be captured if you ask a question. If you do not wish your voice to be captured, don't ask the question. Anyway, you can speak to me in advance so we can determine an alternative means. Basically, you can write your question on a piece of paper, or you can ask the people who sit next to you to ask a question on behalf of you, and then we can read it for you. So that's the general thing. Before Pat starts, I just want to quickly talk about what's going on at school now. As Nick probably know, we had a faculty council meeting last Friday. The faculty council approved the revision of PhD coursework. Last year, that was last year. We did a survey, if you recall, about PhD coursework. Based on the survey, in particular from the faculty perspective, we want to eliminate the current three major areas, just to open the door for more students and open the door for more faculty members to be engaged, involved in the PhD program. Otherwise, people can only, and also open the door for more flexible coursework, so you don't have to take a major coursework minor. So give you more flexibility to work on your PhD, your dissertation. So in that per se, I think it's a really good idea for them. Unfortunately, you're not part of it. But I still want to hear your comments too. So for the time being, the coursework will be like this. The only thing hasn't decided yet is the number of credits, because we have faculty who suggest we reduce the course credits now. So currently, the older students are 33, the new students are 36, and then we have, so currently we're 36. But we have faculty members thinking that might be too much, so we may reduce our credits, but we haven't decided yet because we don't have enough time for discussion. So that might be decided for the next faculty council meeting. However, the coursework is already decided. The required course will be, first one, current issues in information study, which is similar probably to what you have taken before 901. And then the second one is the added one, theoretical foundation. Because many faculty thinking, for doctoral students, it's not a master's student anymore, you need to apply theories into your dissertation writing. So theoretical foundation will be the required 3-credit course. So those are 2 required courses everyone has to take. In addition, we also have 9 credits of research methods and design course. The 2 required will be 1 qualitative, 1 quantitative, as we already said. So we already have an internal quantitative course, which many of you have already taken. We will also going to offer an internal qualitative course. I want to get more feedback from you. So if you have already taken qualitative courses, if you have a syllabus you want to share with me, send me email as attachment. If you have any suggestion, comments, and send to me too. So when we develop our own qualitative course, I want to make sure that's something students will really can benefit from it. And the third research methods class could either be research design or one of the advanced qualitative or quantitative based on whatever your dissertation need is. So that's 9 credits of research methods. Then also you need to take 12 credits of specific area which is relevant to your dissertation. So which is relevant anyway, just similar as your major before. But now your major can be anything, not limited to IR, IO, IP. You still can have major done, but you can also major other things too. So that's still 12 credits. For the time being, the leftover will be 9 credits if you're good at maths. 9 credits of electives, which still might be changed because we have faculty already proposed to reduce credits. So potentially 9 credits could be reduced to 3, could be to 6, to 9, or 0. We don't know yet, but that will be on discussion there too. So basically I just want to give you an update, at least you know what's going on at the school part. If you have any concern, any comments, you don't need to say anything now, it's recorded. So send me email, so at least I can convey to the doctoral committee, and then we can also discuss within the faculty as well. So basically, that's basically any questions so far? If we get it started, it won't be next fall because it still takes many committees to go through. After you go through this school, you have to go through the graduate school and also the different levels. So if it's actually implemented, it will probably start in fall of 2014. Yeah. So that's basically the idea. You can always tell me what's going on there too. So again, anything you have question, you can let me know. Basically that's it. And just give a quick update to Pat. We normally offer our PhD workshop once a month, and so far we have already had how to write a dissertation proposal, how to write a dissertation, how to prepare for preliminary exam, and how to what to expect as a junior faculty member. And today we're talking about graduate school forms requirements. And we also have one more in April for how to basically prepare for teaching. So try to cover different areas, although I know students have different needs too. And in most cases, I think everything is recorded unless the people who provide the workshop, they say, no, I don't want to be recorded in that sense. So if anyone wants to review them, you can review them later. So basically that's what we try to do. And also, I think I like this opportunity for students to meet at least once a month. I know, you have your office, but not everyone has a chance to talk to each other. I think at least an informal one. I really appreciate when I was a student, the informal communication between our fellow classmates. And now we, in different places, it's interesting to remember that's my best time, basically, for part of my life, in US too. So I really want you guys to have a chance to talk to each other. I also want to thank Nick to organize that workshop on Monday, and I already heard one student already sent me email, said that was very helpful to her. So again, any kind of activities within yourself is always helpful too. Then you don't be nervous. You can talk to each other too. And the other thing is, of course, my door is always open. If you want to talk to me, send me email. We can talk to each other. So any concern, any comments, talk to me early. Don't wait to the last minute too. And today we are honored to invite, everybody knows her now, right? Patricia Hayes. She is assistant director of the graduate school. Yeah. Basically, everything you are doing milestone, you need to get graduate school approval and the Pat is the person. So as I talked to Pat, I said basically whenever I send her email, she replied very quickly. I guess the students as well. So although very concise, I know, right? But it's very quickly.
More concise than it used to be. So many more students.
Yeah, I know. So basically say yes, no, not, whatever. So I think today I just want to take this opportunity to ask Pat to give us the overview of all the forms, all the requirements graduate school would like to need. And so it doesn't matter, because I know students are in different stage of your dissertation, of your PhD program now. So at least something will be relevant to you. So that's why I sent an email today saying it's not just dissertation format, it's everything. So I want to give a chance. And also if you have any questions, feel free to ask during the process.
Yes.
I think it's not very formal, it's just a chance for you to interact with Pat. So any question you have for a long time, it's time for you to ask now.
Yeah, or even a short time this time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to know, okay, can you just raise your hand? I don't know if we have time to go through, but who are in or ending their first year? So, second year? Past prelims, anybody? 3, 4, 5, 6, so dissertators? Okay, yes? You really do have a big range.
Yeah,
That's good though.
Right.
So on this yellow sheet, I kind of summarized all the steps toward the doctoral degree at UWM. And I think all of you can cross off the first one, admission. I want to just say quickly about the graduate school, because, we, in the inside out, we all talk all these terms, and people don't always really, you don't really need to know what we know, obviously, but at UWM, the graduate school is a central place for service for graduate students. So we have the staff who do the professional admissions, so you've worked with us that way. We are your registrar's office. So if you want, a copy of your records, like a transcript, we do that. We keep your records, so we take in information about you while you're in school and put it on your records. We are the graduation specialists for masters and PhDs and other doctoral degrees. So we really, in the student, and there's other arms of the student services that do recruitment, appeals, everything that serves the graduate students as a group. Anyway, and we're in Mitchell, 261, 8 to 4:30. And I see people, if they walk in, if you're around that neighborhood, this is kind of interesting. I had both my kids here. It's kind of weird. Columbia Hospital. So I imagine
How many years ago?
30 and 25.
Wow.
There's probably other faculty and staff who could say that too. It's kind of funny for us because sometimes we live on the east side, so yeah. Well, hopefully it has good vibes. So the doctoral degree is designed and approved by graduate faculty, and as you just learned, some updates are happening that goes through faculty. The committees that are sitting to approve and monitor the doctoral degree at UWM are all graduate faculty. And so what happens in my case is the faculty create policies and procedures and standards for degrees, and then it's up to the professional staff to make sure those are followed. So there are 30 PhD degrees at UWM right now, somewhere in that neighborhood, I think. And it's my job to follow and monitor all the students in all those degrees to make sure that all of you meet what we call the minimum standards. Okay? So the reason I have your degree description up here, and then I have the other page that I feel like is important, is the grad school. These are the minimum standards and the general policies for doctoral degrees at UWM. It's under current students' doctoral requirements. So they're very generic. I always tell people when they first come, read through that. You kind of get a sense of the whole picture. A department or school or college can always require higher standards, stricter standards than the minimum. No one can ever go below the minimum. So in my job, I'm thinking minimum standards. So for example, I checked your degree today. The length of time allowed at UWM, minimum standard, longest time possible, is 10 years to earn the degree. Your standard is 7, okay? So prelims, you must take and pass prelims within 5 years of admission, minimum standard. Yours looks like it's 4 to me, okay? So I'm trying to show you the difference between what I'm able to do and what you do with your faculty and staff in your school and college. I think you should think of me, I was thinking of this morning, like I probably used to say the Bible of the doctoral degree, the encyclopedia. So I decided I am the human Google of the PhD at UWM, okay? So the bottom line is, I can show you where to find stuff, you can kind of take it in. Depending on where you're at, it'll seem more urgent and less urgent. But if my policy in the service we try to do for docs is like my email, then if I'm there, and you'll know I'm there because if I'm not there, you'll get a message, then I will be able to respond that day or the next day to your question. And anything and everything is like possible. Since the degrees take a while, even if you finish fast, 4 or 5 years is pretty average at UWM. 3 or 4 is very fast at UWM. You got life happening outside of here, I'm sure every one of you does, to some degree or other. We have a lot of adult students at UWM. By that I mean grown-up people with families and full-time jobs or part-time jobs, and not only stuff happening here, but stuff happening everywhere. So maybe something comes up. If you're fumbling around, and it's good to talk to each other, by the way, but my joke is always like, never take verbatim what another PhD student tells you. Sorry, I know I'm just insulting the whole group right now, but doctoral students tend to be, as a group, kind of highly wound. Yeah, so probably because of what I just said, you're all grown-ups, right? You have a lot to do. A lot of you are TAPAs, RAs, mothers, fathers, whatever. And so you want to get, you really want to get the degree going, and you kind of want it to go well. That's my goal for you too, and I think that's probably your department goal. But if you're walking down the hall, something occurs to you like, oh my gosh, do we have to finish all our coursework before we start planning for prelims? And well, I heard that you have to do your proposal and then, and so sometimes by the time someone emails me, not usually from here, but literally some bizarre thing that, and it usually is what Pat does, the grad school will not allow whatever. It could be true, but usually it's way exaggerated. Don't get in a big dither before you email me about something. What if someone gets sick in your family, you want to take some time off? Well, I heard that if you stop enrolling, you have to reapply, and they might not let you back in, No, okay, so please, just use the service that we're trying to offer. And I have to admit now, we've got about between 12 and 1,300 grad students at doc students at UW, about maybe 400 to 500 dissertators. There's all little things that I manage with each of the levels. And so I'm getting more curt, instead of saying, dear professor, I'm like, yes, no, me. But it doesn't mean I'm crabby, I'm just trying to go through more emails than I used to be, right? Always, 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 if you want to come in, if you feel better talking to someone eye to eye, that's just fine with me. Sometimes it's a nice break. You can make an appointment through me, or if you walk in and I'm there, I'll almost always be able to come out at least for 10, 15 minutes. If it's a bigger deal than that, then we'll, make some other time. Okay, so those of you who started in the last year or two should know what I mean by program of study. Another jargon term that you may or may not use here. But the first task of any student in any program, undergrad or grad, is to try to figure out somehow what courses am I going to enroll in. And in the graduate school, we call that plan of coursework and kind of out there, prelims, out there, dissertation, a program of study. Something that you have in writing. It can change, it might change every semester, it can change every year. It changes because it takes longer or shorter, or some course isn't offered. But my recommendation to all doc students at UWM is that they have some sort of program of study. And I'm sure your school or college recommends how many credits you have required courses, so that's easy to know what to do. You might have a faculty advisor, but then that changes. Usually within the first year, most students are ready to sit down and write everything out for the first draft of their program of study. These plans help students and they help faculty and they help me. Because there will be your occasional person who just sort of looks in the catalog and enrolls in classes and maybe isn't sure, and then pretty soon you're either spending more money, taking more credit, going off track when you should have had one thing first and then the other thing. So in the interest of, maybe money, time, good to have a plan. Graduate school, I think years ago, used to require them submitted to us, but...
Yeah, so we do have a program of study required for every student. Students have to fill in the form called we do call program of studies.
Good.
After you
Same
finish,
word.
I know, finish 12 credits. Not correct, is that 12 credits?
Should I look?
Yeah. So basically, normally that's the first year, after the first year, and the deadline is August 1st. So for the first year students, that's something you can think about during the summer. Your due date is on August 1st, and normally you need to prepare for 3 copies of your program study. And 1 copy will get back to you, and 1 copy will give to the major professor if you have one, and 1 copy will be in your file.
Right here.
Yeah.
Here's a general description of what she's just talking about. This is also on our website. So after the completion of 12 credits. The key really, and one of the most hard things to describe for the doctoral degree is a major professor. And we've gone round and round from the Council of Grad Schools and from all of us who've been here for years to try to write about that and talk about that. Because every person who earns a PhD and has some like back vision will tell you that that relationship is very important. Of course, it usually starts with an area of interest, an academic area of interest, right? But it can be more than that. It can be the way you work with somebody, you're comfortable, your personality. Do you like lots of feedback? Do you like, So those of you who are in year 1 and 2, you might be still kind of wondering, maybe not. Most of our faculty have their vitas and their areas on the web. You also, of course, are going to want to talk to people that have taught classes, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so program of study. So far, if everything is going well for you, I don't know who you are, and I don't talk to you, and I don't email you, and I don't even say hello to you, okay? Because admissions is not my thing. I am the service personnel on campus for doctoral students after admission, okay? That doesn't mean that I won't help you if you find me, but I'm not an academic expert. I don't know all 30 areas of PhDs. And anything that you ask me, I can figure out if it's department or me immediately. So even if you don't know for sure, I can tell you that's going to come from your department, or I could answer that question.
Pat, I have a question.
Yeah.
So for that part, you might still be involved if their students has a reduced course load, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're changing those rules and making them much more sensible. As a matter of fact, the Graduate Faculty Council is working on that right now. If a lot of you are hired by the university to be a graduate assistant, either teaching, research, whatever, and we pay you for that work requires you to be a student, right? And there's usually a level of credit that you're required to maintain. Occasionally in the first couple of years, something comes up where you have to drop a class or switch a class, or that credit balance with your contract is not quite right. That's me. It's always me if it's a doctoral student. Yeah. 6 credits is considered full-time if you're teaching 33% or more, or PAing or RAing 33% or more. That's considered full-time. That's not a requirement. It's a minimum. So again, minimum standards. You could take 8, 12, as crazy as you want to be. Don't advise it, but I've seen it done. So if you want a life, you might want to take 6 and just learn all sorts of other stuff besides whatever you're reading in your book or your computer. So.
Does it apply to international students in the same way?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 8. I think you probably know that 8 is full time just generally at UWM, but there's categories like TAs, PAs, RAs where it's not the same. And PAWS, when it was invented in 01, was set up to do some very rudimentary monitoring of this. So you will find that if you enroll in the wrong number of credits and look at your financial panel on PAWS, that you owe $11,000, something. And, but that's not the case. Something's wrong. Send me an email. And I have authority and access very, very much for PAWS. So I can, except for a couple financial panels that I'm not allowed into, I can usually figure it out. First thing I look at is your status. If you're a regular grad student and you happen to think you were in 6 credits but you only took 4, boom, out goes your remission, out goes everything. Just mess. It's a mess. Yeah, so that's part of my job too. Yeah, and I think you get a lot of support for your students, right? So many of you will be in that position. Also, the graduate school monitors and awards some basic fellowships, Distinguished Graduate Student Fellowship and Dissertator Fellowship. So if you are lucky to get, we don't have a lot of money at UWM for stuff like that, but, and so it's real competitive. I'm sure you could all qualify, but I think we only give away like 18 or 20 of them, so. We would help with that too. If something got tangled up with that, we would help with that too.
Yeah, we have two students got it for Kwando and Suyang-Drill. They got the last year and the year before.
Excellent.
I have a question. So for the reduced load, what kind of reason are acceptable for students to take a reduced course load?
Well, I can tell you quick about the prelim, which I'll
Sure.
touch on. For the semester that you are involved in studying and taking prelims, if it's, there's a one-time only opportunity to reduce your credit all the way down to just one graduate credit or more and be considered full-time for every reason. International students, TAs, PAs, scholarships, fellowships, VA, the whole ball of wax. Verifications for your car loan. This is like an automatic, everybody gets a one semester opportunity to reduce your credit load. So I'm not sure how it works here, but in a lot of PhDs, when students are approaching their prelim semester, they are also at the same time running out of courses to take. That's the way we like it, to go. You have all that knowledge under your belt, plus you're able to focus a little bit more on the prelim at the same time. So there's a reason for reducing. Other reasons for reducing, we look at one individually at a time. So illness, sudden change in your, we have people who are full-time superintendents of schools or whatever they're doing, engineers, so sudden change in work, uncontrollable factors that happen during the term that just affect you so much that you really feel it's in your best interest to not carry whatever credit you're carrying, right? Then we can approve it and put through the remission and force it, so pause will take it. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens regularly. It's not a horrible thing to have happen. It's, it's just, again, there's always exception to every policy because there's just, blank happens to people. And so, this morning, my daughter and my granddaughter were in a car accident, for example. It's so icy out there, someone just put on their brakes and slid right into them, So, that wasn't too bad. She's still at work, but, stuff happens, so. Okay, so then on my little yellow list I have, complete your coursework, language and research skills, etc. So obviously, in the first couple years, you're gonna create the program of study and try as hard as you can to just move through it, check, 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 check. I recommend, if your department doesn't require you to do this, that you go in to either your advising office, or if you have a major professor now, someone you're working with, every term. I don't know if it would be in between terms or at the end of the term, just for an update, so that the most calm and sort of peaceful doctoral student is on the same page all the time with their faculty and with the graduate school. And, and we will not come out and find you and knock on your door and say, those 9 credits you said you were gonna do, did you do those? So I would just think in terms of, or a year if you want. Sometimes it's very routine. The first 2 semesters you're just cranking out the requirements or whatever, but I would say that it's a great idea to just wrap up a term, during finals or right after that time before faculty are not around, and just sit down and say, well, here I am, kind of help proactively manage your own degree to that extent. And so now, as you finish your coursework, I will get to know you, regardless of whether you've had ups and downs or not, because you have to report the milestones to me, to the graduate school. Think of it this way. There's no way for us to know what you're doing unless you let us know. So if you just, here's an example, this happens a lot. People are going to do their prelim and they've been talking about it for months, and so they're all wrapped up and they enroll in 1 credit. And then they look at their pause after a couple weeks, and their TA remission is not there, there's no indication that anybody knows anything about what's happening. And then they email me, and I say to them, did you apply for the preliminary examination? Okay? And then yes or no, that answers the, problem, right? So when you approach these required milestones, prelims, proposal, dissertator status, just keep in mind that that's a little time when you need to intersect with me. You can ask me on email, do I need to apply now, do I need to apply late, all that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna go, let's see if this is yours, I wanna go back to mine for a second. So we're kind of trucking along here. We stuck in the continuous year resident requirement. That comes up in the faculty meetings every year as something that we wish we didn't have to do exactly the way we do it. Every doctoral degree, PhD across the country, every university, every legitimate degree is gonna have some sort of residency requirement, and you kind of build it into your program of study, so you don't usually have to worry about it very much. Especially if you're grad assistants, you'll come in, and by and large, I see you'll do 6, 6, 6, like that. That's it, you're done. So it used to be you had to take 1 full-time year. It's hard for me to read, but the faculty about 10, 15 years ago replaced this with the option that you can do or 6 for 3 consecutive semesters, because we have, UWM's bread and butter are part-time students. And so we, again, something happens, you have a plan, you're gonna take 6, 6, 6. You take 6, 6, 3, 6, right? So technically, that's not continuous, and that's not really fulfilling the letter of the residency requirement. Email me, okay? Because we're all about looking at individual cases and just thinking about the whole degree, whether a student is engaged in their department, what are the grades like. If you come in and you're taking 3, 3, 3, and all of a sudden I see you like 4 or 5 years later and you've got 3 credits every semester, that's a different thing. Okay, so if something goes wrong with your plan, that's a good time to contact me. I actually printed out the prelim app. I don't know how much your department gets involved in helping you with these forms. Some departments practically fill them out for people, but they're all on our website. We're working on having them e-submissible, but of course I can't tell you. Up here there's this thing called quick links and forms and downloads. And so if you get to forms and downloads, you'll see this whole little section for doctoral students and dissertators. There's the graduation applications for all the doctoral degrees, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Nursing Practice, Doctor of Philosophy, and then here's the forms. So, dissertator status application. Right now, it's only a PDF. Oh my gosh. Geezer font, I like it. Each of our forms, you're going to find there's a student section. So the original concept is that the student initiates this, right? I know that I'm going to take prelims. I go find this application. I fill out the student section of it. So in the case of the, oh shoot, why did I open this? That's not what I wanted. To be completed by doctoral student. Okay, so for prelims, there's a little, can't even get this section out of here. Well, you can see it. There's a little extra, fill it out, fill it out, fill it out. You need 3 faculty member or more according to the minimum standards. Some people have 4, some have 5. At least 3 members with current UWM graduate faculty status. So you dutifully put 3 names in here, you just print them in. But over here, your major prof and your, what we call the graduate program rep from your department signs this, so that it's sort of like, I know that you're not just deciding to take prelims, that's kind of a, you know, department happening thing. I don't know if you wanna have a copy of it. So unfortunately, currently, what you have to do is fill this out, print it, get the signatures, and then usually the department will get it to me. Who's taking prelims this spring, anybody? Are you? Excellent. She's like, you don't want me to point you out. Yeah, be sure to let us know how you do. Yeah. So are you reduced credit load, or?
Yes.
Oh, good, okay. That's helpful.
Renee also doing it too.
Yes, excellent, good luck.
And we have also several of them doing summer. Jeanette is doing the summer.
Yeah. Summer is different, actually. I don't know, do you make them enroll, Iris, when they're taking the prelims in summer?
That's my question, I think.
There's a question. Oh, yeah, but I'm just so you can look at it a little closer. I don't always like looking up at screens myself.
That already did it.
Three credits, I didn't realize you only have to do one.
We-
Yeah, are you doing it in the summer?
No, it's through the gateway. I don't need one of those.
Wonderful.
And
We'll be
so,
doing it in the summer.
I mean, it's great, the thing is that, I mean, I'm still a peer for professors.
Okay, though. It's one or more.
Hey,
But
Jeanette,
maybe
doing
not
the
with the
summer too.
grant.
I have, well, I was just saying, I have 3 credits, and I really don't need them. I didn't realize I only had to do 1, but, I don't know if that affects the B2A or anything.
Usually what happens, you may also have this, so you burn through your classes, then you're studying for prelims. If you're lucky, you just can reduce and not worry. And usually departments will allow you to enroll in one of their upper level research numbers, which is graded S or U. That's what I recommend if the department rule allows. Because that way you're not really, your job is to study for prelims, take them and pass them, right? So you definitely, from my point of view, would get an S if you did that. So, I mean,
How about if you fail the prelim?
maybe get a U then. All right, so if you fail prelims or fail parts of it, I did a survey about 8 years ago for the dean, and he wanted to know what departments are doing for prelims. And it was so different, like, we were like, forget it. We thought we were gonna do a little more monitoring, something, we were like, no. And the grad faculty were right, departments should be in charge of this. They know what to examine, how to examine, timing, everything. So some departments will have parts, or they'll have an oral and written, or they'll have, engineering has several parts. So you could be very good at some of it, and you could get a low pass or a fail in another part. You have to take that over. That is all happening in the department. So what I want is, down here in part 4, when the student has finished the last part of the prelim and the department considers them to have passed this milestone, then I like a date, because I will put that on your transcript, even though you could have a take-home or be sitting for a week or whatever. I like a date. And then they will check pass, or they will check fail, and then we'll get the signatures this time from the people that you listed on the top of the form. So this is considered to be an application and a warrant and everything all in one right now. Your department will be saving these, they'll get them back from me and they'll hold on to them. And when the time comes to report the results, they'll report. It is your job to know your department's regulation about retaking prelims. Usually it's in their handbook, or it'll be in some paperwork, or certainly you could sit down and ask about it. But,
We can retake twice.
okay, that's the usual at UWM.
Just, can I add a quick thing? Because this is the form, not only they come back, they have to send it back again. So it's kind of for,
Mhm.
you know, when you take the prelim exam, when you're doing the defense for the prelim exam, that form has to be already approved by the graduate school
Mhm.
for the first part. So normally, if I receive the form, I will make a copy, put it in your student file, and give to the form to your major professor. However, sometimes some of the major professors are very busy, they don't know where they put the form. So if, just in case, I think it's always a good idea for you to remind your major professor at least 2 days, 3 days before, say, can I find a form, you know, do you have the form? Because otherwise, there's no way people can sign it, there's no form. I got a couple of calls in the morning, afternoon, said, we're in a session, where is the form? So then we have to say, go to your student folder, you know, if there's something going on there. So make sure you double check. And for some of the faculty, I know they're normally too busy, so I put the original form in the student folder, so they don't have to look for it, it's always in the student folder. But anyway, student folder will have at least a copy of the form, just in case.
I have a copy of the form.
Yeah, so sometimes, once we actually got back to you.
I've been
about
known
the
to
form.
fax them, you know, right then. Always better to have the form you need right at the time, get it over with. Then otherwise you end up with the form, you're going around to faculty after the fact or whatever, it's not good stuff. Prelim is the biggest sort of milestone hoop that you will go through to get yourself into what we call dissertator status, which is not a word, it's made up, you know, every time you type it, it underlines rad, but it's, you know, it's, some colleges call it candidate for degree, ABD, blah, blah, blah. It's the status you have after you're done with literally everything except defending your dissertation. So as you move to dissertator status, as you sort of cross off these milestones and put them under your belt, that's what you'll get to eventually. You'll be an independent researcher on your particular area of study and interest, and you'll be writing, and you really won't have a lot of imposed structure as far as like coursework or anything that anyone, at least in the grad school, is going to monitor. I just wanted to show you this proposal form because right now, the proposal itself, some departments require it at the time of prelims. No. So some students are doing proposal and prelims at the same time. So I always get them together. So, for example, engineering, they take qualifying exams after their first year of study. And then in physics, they'll take several qualifying exams on topics. Those are not considered prelims. So they get all the way up here, and really the prelim is their proposal, right? So, but we still talk about them in two separate, because lots of departments have prelims, the student turns their attention and defends a proposal or writes up a proposal, which is really the gateway to their, dissertation. We like to know when you do that, but we don't have a rule about when. So just know that it's possible to fill out a form for proposals. All you have to do is take it to your meeting. If you actually have a formal defense of your proposal, write the date in, and then the professors can just sign. I only get this if it's approved, right? If you just have a meeting and there's more work to do, I don't want to know that really. So on your transcript, if you're a doctoral student, besides your courses and grades, is going to come along past preliminary examination in information studies, March 13, 2013, past proposal hearing, so that'll kind of be there. You can always tell a really mature student, they've got all this stuff in there, and then all of a sudden they're just taking 3 research credits every semester. I know what they're doing, what they should be doing. That's the hard part, that's a PhD. If you don't do that, you're not doing a PhD. Okay. Let me just take a breath here for a second.
Pat, can you distribute that form? I think we do use that form for the defense, right? For preliminary, for the dissertation proposal defense. Is that the one?
Yeah, yeah, but you can bring it. It's not one of those forms that has to come to me first. That's what.
Right. That's the one actually you can prepare right today while you are taking the prelim exam, defense. not prelim, the dissertation totally different.
Iris, are you, the one credit that you take during prelims, is that a formality or are you actually doing some kind of coursework for that one?
You know, in our school, because for whatever reason, I don't know why the candidacy doesn't work. So in here, the norm is you take independent research. So yeah, so in general
It's
case,
draft
you
paper.
still mostly do the prelim work, but we also want you to at the end to submit like an abstract of your dissertation, just to because when you move to the dissertation status, you anyway you have to attach to it too, right? So for the dissertation status form. Pat, did you have the form with the dissertation status?
Mm-hmm.
So that one, when you submit that form, you need to also attach the summary of your dissertation. Basically at that time, you know, you need to send to graduate school.
So before you take prelims, you really have to know what you're doing.
Here's the, can you just pass this around? This is the big mama of the,
You don't need it, right? You don't need it.
No, I'll leave that one.
You guys already
Yeah,
have
we
it.
already did this. Oh,
you know, if I
already.
get green and blue forms, I'm gonna know right away.
You still need it, you need it.
Well, that'll be kind of fun.
I don't think you need it. You already did something.
Did I?
You don't remember?
So is it warm in here?
Which I think is Sunday.
I get really warm, so.
I don't think it's.
Okay, does anyone have any questions about kind of whipping
Oh, you
here?
have one already.
Let's see, coursework, prelim, oh, you asked about what to take during prelim. There's also every possibility in the book, like somebody has a 3-credit course left. So obviously, they're not gonna take anything, just that 3-credit course, study for prelims, you know, get an exam, get a grade in the course. So, those of you that literally don't have any more reason to take coursework, in my, you know, vast, like, knowledge of anecdotal troubles for people, don't take any coursework, you know? I mean, ask your department, what can I take while I'm studying for prelims where I don't have to do additional, you know, because I look through sometimes that people are taking 999. That's an independent reading course. We consider that to be a 1-term course where you actually get a letter grade. So, okay, if you made an arrangement that what you're gonna do for that letter grade is pass prelims, then that's fine with, you know, fine with us. It's really up to your faculty what you take and how you'll be graded.
Pat, I have a question about summer. During regular semester, definitely take at least 1 credit. How about summer? If they take summer, they are not required to take any.
There is no, if you ask me questions, here's how I'm gonna answer them, okay? There are no graduate faculty policies which require students to be enrolled in the summer, ever, unless they're earning money that require it. And there is no policy that requires them to be enrolled while they take prelims. But I can tell you that 99% of our students are enrolled when they take prelims. To not enroll, see, you gotta understand that some students are paying their own tuition, or they're taking loans or something. And so, in addition to worrying about, you know, this stuff, they also try to, you know, reduce the tuition bill. Then they'll email me, I'm taking prelims this semester, do I have to enroll? And then I say, the graduate faculty does not have any rule about enrolling. But, you know, I know for a fact that most schools and colleges, if that student will ask them, says, yes, you have to take 1 credit. Because the flip side of the advice is, are you using UWM faculty time? Are you using UWM, you know, email, library, you know, all this stuff? Yes, I am. Okay, you have to be enrolled. Because that's how we pay the bills here, right? Sometimes students are allowed not to in summer, I think. They just don't let me know. It's fine with me, I don't care. Okay, last big jump. Here's where you want to be. This form is to apply for a status which you are awarded at the beginning of a semester. So in your plan, what you want is you want to try to do the dance, do everything, and have it come out at the, kind of, you're all done with everything, kind of at the end of a semester, or summer, whatever, and then the next semester, you'll be a dissertator. If we are able to do it that way, you'll have no problem with anything. Tuition, status, TA contracts, just everything. Now, my rule is that I can change people to dissertators within the first 2 weeks of school. Because that's an ad deadline. And dissertator status on pause changes. You're full-time with 3 credits, that never happens. Now you're full-time with 3 credits, right? Your tuition per credit goes down. Dissertators pay less tuition. So you can only imagine what happens if somebody somehow needs to have dissertator status in the middle of the semester, okay? Generally speaking, that's a big, like, request for exception appeal. So either be happy, and if you took prelims and passed them at the beginning of the semester and you're in that 1 credit, sweet, you're done, right? I mean, I would do that. You know, I know it's not possible because you're managing so many things, but again, same with defense when you're graduating. You schedule your defense in February and you pass your defense, you're done. You have the whole semester to format. Do it, people! So I know, it just doesn't happen, but okay. So here's what I check. This is the way you can figure out. So all you do here is just fill in the usual, okay? And then here's me. And this is straight from the graduate faculty rule book, right? Students can be dissertators if they passed preliminary exams, had a proposal hearing, or, which is what you might do, send me a paragraph about what you're thinking of writing on, or if you already wrote an abstract, or you already wrote something that you're kind of working on, send me something for this. The faculty were gonna require this proposal, and then we discussed it because of the differences, and they left this. So this is topic summary or proposal, okay? Then I'm gonna look for, why does this keep turning?
Touch screen.
It's touchscreen.
Oh! Jeez, we don't even have screens.
Just click on it once again so it'll turn white again. There you go.
Sweet, that is so cool. Okay. Remember the continuous portion, I checked for that. So I'm looking at your transcript, and if everything works out right on the unofficial, this is all listed on there. Oh, there, past prelims. Oh, there, proposal hearing. No proposal hearing, then I'm gonna go back and say, oh, there's that little paragraph. Okay, check. 6 credits, 3 semesters in a row, check. This is always and forever checked. Every semester we check this, every milestone we check this. This is in good standing. If it's below 3 point, it's not in good standing. So if you've gotten this far, you have a 3 point, I guarantee that. Here's one people don't always realize. Say you got an incomplete the semester before prelims, and you pass prelims, and you're still kind of putzing around on that paper you owe that professor from last semester. If you don't have a grade in that class, you can't be a dissertator. So when I'm checking this, if something is not checked, this is where the app stops. It stops in my office. I send out emails, dear lovely student and copy. It appears that, blah, blah. So what's up with this, right? So I start checking to see. Could be the faculty member forgot to turn in the grade. Then we start advocating for you and we get that done. So, okay. Then I send this to Iris in your school, and they have to verify that you completed, this is just the program of study, right? All the course requirements, if there's a minor requirement, if there's some other requirement, it could be, lots of times it's research, whatever, check, signed by, Wolfram, signed by Iris, So when this comes back again to me, everything is checked off. And you know what the beauty of this is? Think about it. After this, I send an email. This student has been awarded dissertator status. You will now be full-time with 3 credits. You're required to carry 3 credits in the fall, 3 credits in the spring. When you apply to defend and graduate, I know that nothing will hold you back because the grad faculty built in all of the checks for dissertator status. We can't let you even have an incomplete, you know? So as a bureaucrat, I love this, right? Because I am not then, when I get 150 apps for graduation, going, oh my God, I can't tell if this person passed prelim or, you know, we're just smooth and cool, looking for the defense. That's it. Okay? It's sort of a time of peace for you, and you start to see that you're actually going to be able to do this degree, and then you go off and start writing your dissertation, and then you get real discouraged for a while, because you're all by yourself. So keep coming in to meet. Okay. Dissertation defense is just an application for graduation. Who's going to graduate this spring? I have your application. He only puts his hand up halfway.
Not sure.
Could you put the camera on to make sure?
He did not sign it, so he can put the camera there.
There's always a defense date recommended a week before the submission date, because we would like you to have at least a week to just kind of wrap up, right? So a defense date, a deadline is the 6th of May, submission the 13th. Every semester has those 2 dates, and I can tell you that the one date of all dates and of all policies and of all things and all time at UWM that does not have any wiggle room is submission of dissertation deadline. So if the date for me is the 13th and this gentleman here submits the 14th, he graduates in August.
So it's absolutely a deadline.
Absolute deadline.
Can you talk
Thank
about?
you, because, you know, I've listened to printers, like back in the day when you printed them, and I'm like, I had to get a new ink cartridge, and the thing is like, ba-boom, ba-boom, and it's 5 o'clock, and I'm like, you know, I'm
But
just,
is that e-submission now, electronic submission?
Yes.
You don't need to print anymore?
no need to print.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's so fabulous.
I have a question about the deadline. So for the May one, it's in May. For the summer one, like October one, when is the deadline? Is there a deadline or there's no deadline?
To apply,
Yeah. Like in order to get an October degree, when the student has to defend?
defense, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know it in my head, but there are deadlines for summer.
So there's a deadline for summer too. So there's 3 times
Yep.
basically.
You can earn a degree at UWM in May, in grad school. In May or August or December. Don't confuse graduation with commencement. Commencement is this big whoop-de-doo that really doesn't mean anything at all. Have fun though. Have fun with that. No, I love commencement. It always makes me cry, but I'm saying, if you look around that room, the doctoral students are the only people done with their degrees. Everybody else has grades out, still exams, and they're like, you know, parents have taken, so they're just, what they're doing is like, I hope I pass that history test, you know. So please don't confuse commencement with graduation. We don't run commencement, we don't have a lot to do with it. It doesn't have anything to do really with whether you earned your degree or not. I can say that the tradition at UWM is not to go to commencement if you're not done as a doc student. It's a hooding ceremony. You have a, yeah, jinx, that's good. There's a faculty escort. It's like a big deal. You are the creme at the ceremony. So we feel like if you're close, you know, there's a lot of ABDs out there. So, I don't know, anecdotes? No, you can't, there's nothing you can put on your cards after you are dissertators, except I'm working on my PhD. That's what you have to keep saying. I wouldn't put ABD or anything like that on your card. Don't put PhD on your footer or any cards until after the degree's awarded. just a recommendation. We always find students, you know, who are a little extra anxious to become what they know they will be sooner or later, but it's really, technically it's fraud, so. We're very protective of you because if you look at statistics, very few people in the United States, per capita, do this kind of education. We feel like, we keep the standards, we protect you, we try to help you, and so it all works out as planned, but just, it's special and it's different, and it's not, I did everything but the dissertation. That's not a PhD, that's just that's more master's stuff. Even prelims, that is a big deal. You can brag about it, but you gotta go right back because, the dissertation is the deal. That's the deal. And, then you can go out and start publishing and writing and all the stuff you've always wanted to do. We have workshops every semester about formatting and ETD, which is electronic thesis and dissertation submission. It has been so easy for our students since we offered it up last summer that I really feel like it doesn't require a lot of talk. And you can come to that workshop if you want to. You can also, clearly if you have formatting like that's specific to your chart, you have a chart and it won't go this way and it won't go that way or whatever, we'll always help you with that stuff, but it's not.
With the electronic submission, with the old submission with theses and dissertations, the advisor had to sign the submitted copy.
Yep,
So now it's just the form and that's it?
yep.
Okay.
We decided we don't want any signatures in the document because then they go online. So we usually tell you to take the signatures too, like if you have an IRB or something or other signatures in there, we usually tell you to block them out if you're gonna put them in your appendix, just because it's not good form to publish signatures electronically. We created a form that looks like the title page, but I will say the faculty have to still observe the paper, the whole document, like they did before. Now I know when you brought it in and sat it down for the signatures, they didn't look it over every page. We're assuming you have had this ongoing, they're trusting you that you did the change, or they only just look at the change or whatever. So that's what they'll have to do. Either you'll bring them a paper one and they'll trust you that that's the PDF that you're submitting, or they'll look right online or whatever, but I have boxes in my office of dissertations from 05, 06, 04. Never gave me that last form or whatever. And it's too bad. Break time. Oh, I just wanted to leave the commencement booklets here so you could see what it looks like when you finish.